I have sought out to determine what the most effective body part split is according to science. So today I'm going to be breaking down each of the most popular ones by their pros and cons and their effectiveness. But there is a caveat, and that's that even if there is the bottom line most effective workout split, that does not mean that it is the most effective workout split for you. Whichever workout split you are the most excited for, that really gets you going, gets you into the gym, that is going to be the right one for you. Because after all, if you don't stick to your workout split, then what's the point in even doing it? First up is the bro split. And what the bro split is just training one body part on one day. For example, you might do chest on Monday, legs on Tuesday, back on Wednesday, so on and so forth. It's just hammering one specific body part on one day and then waiting a full 7 days, a full week before you hit it again. Pros. Number one, focused on detail. You really get to get into the weeds of things and focus on one body part, which can be a great time, and you can get accustomed to how it feels to absolutely destroy a given muscle group. Number two, it's just really fun. It can be fun to just annihilate one muscle group and see how long it takes to recover. Number one for the cons is that frequency is very low. You are only hitting a given body part one time for a week, which, as seen in the research, is not good enough. Take this 2016 meta-analysis published by Schoenfeld and colleagues. I quote, "When comparing studies that investigated training muscle groups between 1 to 3 days per week on a volume equated basis, the current body of evidence indicates that frequencies of training twice a week promotes superior hypertrophic outcomes to once a week. It can therefore be inferred that the major muscle groups should be trained at least twice a week to maximize muscle growth." Keep in mind that this is a meta-analysis. They are looking at various different studies and compiling all of the relevant information. Number two is that since all of your entire weekly volume is really condensed into one training session, that means that the sets that are done later on in that given session are going to be inherently worse. There's no way around this. You're going to be spent by the fourth or fifth exercise, maybe even third, and anything after that where you have to, do another 5 different exercises or whatever, it's just going to be junk volume. You can just throw it out the window. And this is bad news because we know that volume is the single best driver of muscular hypertrophy. It is the number one thing that either gets you gains or doesn't. You really have to hit a certain amount of volume per week per body part. For instance, in 2017, there was a meta-analysis and systematic review published by Schoenfeld and colleagues that found that there was a dose-response relationship between the total amount of hard sets done for a body part and the amount of muscular hypertrophy achieved for that given body part. In other words, as long as you are taking your sets near or to muscular failure, then that is a hard set. And you need to hit a certain amount of hard sets per week per body part to enforce enough muscular hypertrophy. The problem is when you are cramming all of your sets into one given day, those later on sets are going to be inherently junk volume. In other words, the volume done in those sets are going to be so taxed and bad that they will not be given the name of a hard set. So they're not even going to be really working towards muscular hypertrophy whatsoever. Effectiveness for a bro split is not very effective at all. The problem is that the frequency is way too low, plus the volume that you're doing in any given session is probably going to be junk volume sooner or later. So where does this come into play? Who should be doing bro splits? Well, in my personal opinion, nobody that's really serious about their training should be doing bro splits if they're a natural lifter. Now, it has been seen time and time again that if you are enhanced, if you are taking a lot of drugs, then a bro split is actually effective. And the reason why I say this is because many popular bodybuilders, many really successful bodybuilders do bro split. So they're only training, a body part 1 day per week, and they still get fantastic results. It has to do with how drugs affect your system and how they affect the way that you respond to training. Next up is a full body split. Now, this is typically training the full body either twice or 3 times per week. That could be full body on Monday, full body on Wednesday, and Friday, or it could be maybe just Monday and Thursday. The pros here is that number one, you are getting a very high amount of frequency per body part. You are either getting a 2 times a week frequency or 3 times, which has been seen time and time again in the literature to elicit more of a hypertrophic response than 1 time a week frequency. So it is very good there. And number two, you actually get a lot of rest in between your training sessions, which can be great for muscular hypertrophy as well. Remember, you are truly growing outside of the gym, not inside of the gym. So it's just a great way to ensure that you are fully recovered. For the cons, number one is that it is very difficult to get in enough weekly training volume unless you are a beginner. What do I mean by this? Well, since you are cramming all the body parts into one session at any given time, it is very difficult to get in enough stimulus over the course of your week for each body part, since you are doing so much in one given day. Now, this is great for beginners because beginners do not need as much hard sets or weekly volume to grow. There's such a thing as noob gains, which is basically a beginner's body hyper responds to training since they have never experienced that stimulus before. So they can grow from pretty much anything that they want. So a full body split is great, especially since you are focusing on compound lifts. But for anybody else, it can be very challenging to get in enough volume without fatiguing themselves too much. Number two is that the sessions can be very lengthy since you are doing so many body parts on each day. And the problem with very, very lengthy sessions, say over 2 hours, is that by the time you hit that threshold, you are going to be so taxed that every single set afterwards is just going to be junk volume. You can just throw it out the window like I previously mentioned. So who is this for? Who is it effective for? Well, these splits, the full body split, is very, very effective for beginners. The main reason for this is A, that beginners don't need as much volume per week, and B, that you are mainly going to be preferentially hitting compound lifts. And for a beginner, this is great because learning the compound lifts not only reinforces good technique, good stability, increases strength, and utilizes a lot of the stabilizer muscles, but they also just get people accustomed to lifting heavy weights and just get comfortable with the gym setting as a whole. Next up, we have the push-pull split, which is effectively training just your pushing muscles on one day. Say Monday, you just do pushing muscles. This will be your chest, your triceps, your quadriceps, stuff like that. Then on Tuesday, you would hit your pulling muscles. These would be your back, your biceps, your hamstrings, etc. So you're just doing any muscles that push, including your lower body, would be on day one. Any muscles that pull would be on day two. Now, this can be done either 2 times a week or 3 times a week, depending on your preferences. The pros here is that number one, frequency is good. Whether you're doing it 2 times a week or 3 times a week, frequency will still be adequately adjusted. Number three is that volume distribution can be achieved very well. 2 times a week may be a little bit challenging, but if you decide to do that, push, pull, push, pull, push, pull for a total of 3 times a week frequency, then you will have no issue getting in your total weekly volume, and each set will definitely be a hard set if you do it properly. Cons. So for the main con here, I find that doing a combination of lower body and upper body on the same day like this can be very difficult. Take leading with your squats or your deadlifts. Say you're doing squats and deadlifts, so then you're doing something like a bench press or a row. Well, I find that the bench press and the row, the upper body lifts, are going to be much more challenging after you have already done a lower body lift, since that will fully tax you. Well, what if you reverse them? Well, I still find that it is going to be difficult to attack those lower body lifts as you want to if you start with your upper body lifts. I've messed around with this extensively, and it's just not for me. But if you guys like it, then by all means. Everybody is completely different. Some people may love squatting and then hammering bench press. Maybe it just works for them. So who is this effective for? Well, this is effective for anybody that is really getting sick of the tried and true traditional workout programs like your full body and your push-pull legs, etc., etc. Anybody that really wants to mix up their training, give it a try. You'll probably love it. But beyond that, is probably great for intermediate to advanced lifters. Next up, we have the upper-lower split, which is kind of similar to the push-pull split, except you are differentiating your body parts from just your upper body to just your lower body. And this can also be done as a 2 or 3 times a week frequency. So, for example, you could hit your upper body on Monday, lower body on Tuesday, upper body on Thursday, lower body on Friday. Or you could do upper, lower, upper, lower, upper, lower from Monday through Saturday and just have Sunday as a rest day. The pros here is that number one, it is simple and effective. You can't go wrong with just separating your body from upper to lower because there is no overlap there in terms of the muscle groups hit, the muscle groups being used, and difficulties recovering. It is just simple and effective. Number two is that you are definitely getting enough frequency and volume distribution. You are ticking both of those boxes. You are either getting a 2 or 3 times frequency, which is great, and you can easily get in enough volume if you really try. The only con that I could really find if I really was nitpicking is that it could be difficult to fit total volume into just 4 days if you're doing that 2 times a week frequency. If you're doing the 3 times, you're going to have no issues. The only con with doing the 3 times a week frequency is that you only get 1 rest day out of the whole week, which can be very, very difficult to recover from. And it can be difficult to juggle, a lower body on say Monday and then a lower body straight on Wednesday and Saturday. I mean, that's just a quick turnaround. But as long as you're programming correctly and you are really emphasizing recovery activities, then this can be a fantastic program. Next up, we have the classic push-pull legs. Basically what this is say Monday, you're hitting your push muscles for your upper body. That's your chest, your shoulders, and your triceps. On Tuesday, you would do your pull muscles. That's your back and your biceps for your upper body. And then on Wednesday, you would hit your legs. So you'd be doing just your whole lower body. Now, this is great for people who struggle to get in enough intensity and volume on their upper body days. And it's great because you're separating your upper body into 2 days, and then there's just 1 day for your lower body. This split can be done just a 1 times a week frequency, which I don't recommend, or a 2 times a week frequency. The pros here is that you guys are hitting a 2 times a week frequency for sure. And it is very easy to get in enough weekly volume for your upper body. The only cons that I could find here is that by hitting your lower body only twice a week, it could be challenging to get in enough weekly volume, but that's totally personal preference. If, say, your lower body is already developed where you want it to be, then this could be a perfect split for you since it really emphasizes getting in enough upper body volume. Another con is that since you are in the gym for 6 days a week, it could lower your adherence if you're not a gym maniac like a lot of people can be. So if you're not really emphasizing your workouts, making sure that you get it done each and every day for 6 days out of the week, then it could pose some challenges because you really want to make sure that you're getting in all of your lifting sessions if you can. This is great for intermediate or advanced lifters, or just people who want to focus on their upper body and know that they are going to have the adherence to hit the gym 6 days a week and with enough dedication that they really get in enough volume and intensity. Okay, so that was my breakdown of all of the most popular workout splits that you see today. Let me know what your guys' favorite split is. Please comment below whichever split is your favorite. And if there are some that I missed, please let me know below as well. I would love to see some new workout splits that I've never thought of or I've never tried. Thank you guys for watching. Good luck and have fun.